Hi all. Right, so I'm about to start my day job, so I thought I'd do a quick. It won't be quick. Do an update. It's quite important. This I did one yesterday about the fact of having 5.25-inch drives in the system, and I was worried it was going to destroy the look. So I was kind of against it. I got kind of a little bit of a kick up the bum. But my thinking was this: that the 3000 never had a 5.25-inch drive bay, so why would you put a 5.25-inch drive bay in it? It just seemed wrong. But you know, even I got to say that actually, you know what, it'd be quite useful to have it, but it was a bit of a pain in the neck to fit. Now I've resolved that, I think. However, I cannot resolve the second one. I'd always planned to give the option for people who bought GBA 1000 motherboards to allow them to recase them if they didn't have a 1000 case. Now, to me, it's sacrilege to not have a 1000 motherboard and a 1000 case. I mean, and I'm making a case, and it just seems wrong to me. But people were asking for it, and so I looked into it, and I know it was always the plan. However, it turned into an when I actually did the motherboard, and I'm going to show you now. I'm going to show you the kind of mess it made. Let's turn off the lid, and I will turn on the 1000. Now, let me get rid of that so we can see this. Right, let's turn that off. Okay, and my drive tray. Now, what I've come to the conclusion is, first of all, as standard, sorry, I'm just turning off the standard drive tray. As standard, I cannot mess the existing design up to be able to put in the 1000 motherboard. It was really designed for the 500, 1200 mini ITX, and that was the target audience. The fact that you can put a Vampire in it, you can put a Raspberry Pi. Who wants to put a Raspberry Pi in it? I mean, probably me, because I'm stupid enough. But you see what I'm saying? But the 1000 was always, well, people have asked, and I'll see if it's worth putting it in there. But as you can see, the board, I mean, I've got it with the position. Now, don't worry about the back ports. I'm not worried about the position. They're fine because we can do it. But if you look, I've had to redesign completely the drive tray because the existing drive tray wouldn't work. You've also got this memory card here, which you can see at the front, which meant a hole cut in there, which also means that you can't then put a floppy disk in here. Because if I hide this, just so you can see, you've got this RAM card behind it. So there's no way you can put another drive in there. Okay, so if I do this case, that's on that understanding, you know, if I do a version of it. Now, you know, again, I can later on. It will not affect the design of the front because I'm not changing it, because that's the injection molded part. If I'm going to do it, I'll need 25 to 50 minimum orders to make it worthwhile. Because it needs a new tray, a new base, and a new rear, obviously. There are more problems when you get into it, because I mean, I can put in the big power supply. Where's the power supply? This bit takes the most time, isn't it? Put in the power supply, so it will all go in there. The problem is you're never going to be able to use the expansion slot on the other side. Well, if I do a custom, actually to be fair, if I do a custom tray, then I can put it in, we can stick out the outside, or possibly I could move everything around. So if there is interest, to be fair, I could probably do that. You know, we may even be able to I think it's a case of speaking to the GBA community and just see what they want me to do. If there's interest, they may just be like me, what the hell are you playing at? I want to put it in a 1000 case and be done with it. That was the idea. So for the standard design, I'm dropping the 1000 support. I know I said I would do it, but it's just not viable. You know, I'm trying to do as much as I can, but I think that's a waste of time. Anyway, I'm going to have to move on from that now. Right. Let's get back into the issue with the 5.25-inch drives. Now, originally, I mean, this has gone through 2 or 3 revisions to get to where, well, a few more than that, a few changes, and I had some extra line. It's hard to describe. I mean, you may, if you look at the previous picture I did, there was an extra line here. This line, it's actually quite tricky to show you this. Right, let me explode that. Just so you can see. This line here that goes across, this whole line, there was actually 2 of them, and the same at the bottom. That line, there was 2 of them, and it looked horrible, and it just didn't look right. So I've redone it. I've been through it all, and I've done. So you've now got 2 drive bays. Now these 2 drive bays can take up to 5 1/4 inch drives. So if I turn off, well, let's turn that one off. Bear with me, sorry, that's the Amiga floppy on that. And let's turn off the blank, and then I'll put the DVD. This is the slot loading DVD. And of course you can mix these around. Away from the ends here. You can mix these around as much as you like. So it's fine. They can be any place, because you basically got 2 5 1/4 inch drive bays that will take 3 1/2 inch drives. So if I turn on my 2 drives down the bottom here, if I can find them, there's a slot. So that was quite nice. And then you got that. So as you can see, the any 5 1/4 inch drive will now fit. And if I turn on the, now this has been obviously made possible because I'm using this SFX power supply. And let me turn on the drive tray, spin that round, and then I can turn on, for example, the SSDs. Now yes, I've got 2 SSDs screwing underneath. Let's turn the back off. There's a lot of this switching stuff. Oh no, switching stuff on and off. What have I got? A card bay. Here we go. Let's turn that off. Right. So you can see that the I mean, you'll be able to screw underneath the drives. Now, of course, this 5 1/4 drive bay is going to screw in from the tray. So, you know, I'm probably going to have to move these about. So bear with me on that. And there will also be mounting plates to come up to hold this. So there's still some work to be done on how exactly I'm mounting them, but just standoffs, I think, to be fair, we'll do that. But now that lot will work, and there's still room in there. So if I put in the, let's go Mini ITX, if I put, because a lot of people are showing a hell of a lot of interest in this, which, to be honest, this is probably what mine's going to be. Is going to be basically that system. Oh, you can see there I've already got a little bit of a problem, but that's okay because I can shrink that Mini ITX. Oh yeah, that's the okay. So there's a little bit of an issue there, but I'll resolve that, don't worry. So that's the basic idea for that. If I turn that off and go back to, say, an Amiga 500 version, let's turn all them on with the expansion board. So as you can see, they're all fine. So yeah, everything's going to work fine. So I'm going to concentrate on the 3 target markets, which are the 1200, the 500, and the Mini ITX. Obviously, that includes the Vampires, because the Vampires have got some. I mean, there's so much room. Question has been asked about putting the Vampire in because the slots go all, sorry, the connectors go all around the board. So I'm probably going to have to do a tray with cables that will kind of bring it to the rear port. So that's going to be that's not going to be cheap, actually, to be fair. I mean, bear that in mind, because you're going to need some cables to extend some of the ports on the Vampire. But yeah, apart from that, space is not an issue. So yeah, hopefully you can see it's coming on nicely. If let me turn that, because I really don't like that big drive. I think it's horrible. Let's put on the Amiga floppy disk and then stick the Mitsumi. So you can see now that's really what it's going to look like. I think I personally think it looks okay now. Now I had to raise this piece here 5mm because I extended this section up a fair bit. It was getting completely out of proportion. And if you actually look at a 3000, like this bit here at the base and the bit at the top, it was getting out of proportion. So I've left the base because I don't think that's such a big deal, but the top was important because I wanted to get that. So I've raised that by 5mm, and it kind of balances things out, especially over here for the button. Buttons are going to be a nightmare, I think, to make that. But yeah, it's just another one of them jobs I've got to do. So yeah, progress is being made. I've also, one thing I have done is I blanked. You'll notice that there's no airflow at the base. The reason for that is that the tray has to screw on to that, and so I need some meat for the screws to go into. I can show you that. I might as well show you everything, really. That's the whole point of this process, isn't it? Let's turn all of this off. So go to turn that and that off, and let's turn off the tray, drive tray, because it's always interesting. Right, so if you see here down these two these two holes here, they obviously screw, and same thing over there, they screw into the plastic like these do, and that's what's going to hold the plastic to the base tray. So it's completely different to the 3000, because the 3000, the base is screwed to the lid, which slides on the front. I'm doing it a slightly different way here. But they were screwing, so they need the meat to go into the plastic, and you notice I've put them in with the verticals, and I may actually be increasing the width of these verticals ever so slightly to give it just a bit more strength. And you're down there, if you wonder, there's a big hole, that's where the ports go. It's quite an important one for me, because for that's going to be good for everyone, to be fair, but I want the USB ports and I want the HDMI at the front to have as an option, because it's good for plugging in VR headsets. And the obviously SD card reader. Now that will have one of those boards that you can get. I've not got it in here, but hang on. Yeah, well, you can kind of see, but there's a little board that you buy for the 600 and 1200, so you'd be able to screw that onto it and run a great long cable to it, and then be able to pull it in and out if that's what you want to do. So there's lots of options. But there you go. So but I think that'll do as an update. Hopefully you're still enjoying it, liking the look of it. I'm going to come back soon about the mine's going here. I'm going to come back to you soon about the potential. I've got to make. Okay, well, when I do the first prototype, even the manufacturer, well, you know, for the metal bashers said to me, no disrespect, metal bashers, just also, they said, well, you can make 5 pretty much the same price as 1. So and I originally was just going to make 1 in case I made a mistake. But you know what? I come up with an idea that I'm going to offer 4 people to have a prototype each. Now, first of all, it ain't cheap. Okay, it really isn't cheap. But there is actually a benefit here. It's going to cost you twice the price of the case, basically. Well, more than twice the price of the original case. But what I'm going to do is this, that, and I'm going to sort the pricing out. But basically, if you are interested, I want one 1200 owner, I want one 500 owner, and I want one mini ITX. The 4 key ones. I mean, me, I'm be putting everything in it, but I need someone from each of those camps that are going to do that. If you're interested in, you can afford the extra cost and get it really early, then you will get. I've got to sort the price out, because it's not going to be cheap. I mean, it's not going to be cheap. But it's probably going to be about £400. But so very few people are going to be interested in this. But there might be, you know, some got money to burn, and you will be able to get. You'll basically get the trays, but you'll also order from Shapeways at literally the cost of making the front pieces in 3D. That alone is about £300. So you know that you actually get the metalwork. The metalwork could be. This is not finalised pricing, but the metalwork could be about £100. The plastics, the front in 3D is very expensive, and that's where all the cost is going to be. Now, if you do this, though, you will get the final complete system for free. So, what you're doing is you're helping fund a little bit for the costs of the metalwork, and it's keeping my costs down. You know, so basically, I get the prototypes for free. Should we say? Well, I've still got to pay for my plastics, but the metalwork I can kind of get for free. That'll help me out with that. You'll get one of 5 prototypes. And it'll be working, and I mean it'll look really good. I mean, but bearing in mind, obviously the holes might turn out to be in the wrong place and all this kind of thing. It's a prototype, but you will get the finished product included in whatever the costing is. So you'll get that for free. So all you're really paying for is a plastic front. I mean, that's the bottom line. You're paying for a plastic front. So if there's interest in that, let me know. Get in touch with me, or you can give it through the Facebook page. Get in touch with me, and then we'll discuss it. But again, you know, it's not for, you know, most people. But now the other thing about this is I only want people who are going to come back with feedback. So in other words, they're going to show the problems that they've had. They can video, take photos, whatever they want to do, the problems they're having and where things are going pear-shaped. So then I can fix it for the final version, because more, you know, one pair of eyes is not as good as 5 pairs of eyes. So there's many reasons for doing this. So if you're interested, that would be great. Then get in touch, and I'll do another update, you know, later on, and you know, we'll speak soon. So, okay, that's enough for that, and I'll speak.